that moment you first try it on, right? Maybe it's a stolen thrill, a quiet curiosity
Yeah.
that leads you to explore a different way of presenting yourself. For some, it unlocks something,
Mm-hmm.
a feeling that the person in the mirror finally aligns with who they feel they are inside. But then, well, almost immediately, for many, that feeling can be overshadowed.
Right. By this crushing sense of shame.
Exactly. Like that true reflection suddenly becomes a secret you have to guard, like fiercely. So for anyone who's experienced this or just curious about it, how do you even begin to navigate that internal world?
That's really the heart of what we're exploring today, isn't it? We're taking a deep dive, not just into the act of cross-dressing itself, but into the really powerful emotional landscape that so often comes with it.
Okay.
Specifically, we'll be looking at these three forces: shame, acceptance, and avoidance. And not just as, abstract ideas you read
Right,
about.
textbook terms.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But as the very real, tangible experiences that shape the lives of cross-dressers day to day.
Right. And our source material for this exploration, it's an article called Facing the Mirror, Shame, Acceptance, and Avoidance in the Life of a Crossdresser by Gender Benson.
Mm-hmm.
And think of this deep dive as your fast track to understanding these core dynamics, whether this is, your personal journey or you're simply trying to understand it better.
Yeah.
Our aim here is really just to shed some light and maybe foster a sense of connection around a topic that, let's face it, often lives in the shadows.
Definitely.
Okay, so let's get into it. Starting with that really potent emotion, the one that seems almost universal.
Yeah.
Shame. It's like this immediate internal critic.
Shame, yeah. As the article really aptly describes it, it often acts as both the first barrier you hit and this kind of persistent shadow that follows you. It's that quiet voice whispering that your desire to cross-dress, this very personal form of self-expression, is somehow fundamentally wrong.
Inherently flawed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It has this power to take what could be a joyful act of self-discovery and just twist it into a moral quandary, something that must be hidden.
And what's fascinating, I think, is how this shame can feel almost instinctive, even when you can't quite pinpoint where it came from originally.
It's that invisible weight, precisely. And the article touches on this idea of inherited shame, which I think really resonates.
Yeah.
These deeply ingrained societal expectations, these sort of rules about what it means to be a man or a woman.
The blueprints.
The blueprints, exactly.
Yeah.
Step outside those rigid boundaries, even just in the privacy of your own space, and you risk this internal judgment or the fear of external ridicule.
You think about like a child being steered away from certain toys or clothes, or a teenager living in just absolute terror of their secret being discovered. Those early experiences, they can lay down some pretty deep tracks.
Absolutely. And what's so significant is how these external messages can become internalized over time. These societal blueprints, repeated and reinforced, they can actually become deeply woven into our sense of self-worth. So for an adult crossdresser, maybe decades later, they might still be carrying this heavy, often unspoken burden of guilt.
This feeling that they need to somehow, validate their existence.
Earn the right.
Earn the right to be who they are. And the article directly tackles that feeling, which I found incredibly important.
It does.
It essentially says, and I'm sort of paraphrasing here, but you don't need to earn that right. You are not flawed. You are not doing something inherently bad or perverse.
You're not weak.
You're not weak. You are simply expressing a part of yourself that deserves light, not secrecy. That's such a crucial message to absorb.
It really is. And when that feeling of shame becomes overwhelming, a very common response, a survival strategy, as the article terms it, is avoidance. It's just a natural human inclination, isn't it? To try and move away from what causes us pain or discomfort.
Right. Avoidance is a kind of like protective mechanism, and it shows up in so many different ways, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely.
The article lists things like, purging your wardrobe, getting rid of all your clothes.
Classic purge, yeah.
Or ending relationships where you feel you can't be yourself. Throwing all your energy into work or hobbies just to distract yourself.
Or even actively avoiding looking in the mirror. Or just acknowledging your own feelings about wanting to cross-dress.
It's all about trying to make the urge vanish. Poof.
Yeah, the underlying logic is often, if I just ignore it hard enough, maybe it'll go away. But what's really insightful here, and what the article brings to the forefront, is that this desire to cross-dress often isn't just some fleeting whim.
Right.
It tends to be an expression of something quite personal and, fundamental. So trying to suppress it, trying to push it down, it can create a really damaging cycle.
How so?
Well, the shame triggers the desire to avoid, right, which might give you some temporary relief.
Okay, yeah, for a bit.
But the underlying need, the desire, it doesn't actually disappear. So this leads to an eventual return, often accompanied by even more intense feelings of shame because you failed to stop it.
Ah, I see.
And the cycle just repeats, frequently leading to this profound emotional exhaustion. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater eventually. It's going to pop back up, probably with more force.
That's a great analogy. And all that energy spent on avoidance, on trying to bury this part of yourself. It's energy that could be going towards, well, just living your life more fully, right?
Absolutely.
The article mentions the emptiness that can follow purging your wardrobe, that sense of loss, and then the inevitable return of the desire. It really highlights the internal battle that's going on. Acceptance, which the article beautifully describes as the long road home. And it's so important, I think, that it emphasizes this isn't like flipping a switch.
Yeah, no.
It's not an overnight transformation. It's gradual and sometimes, let's be honest, probably a bit messy. A journey of coming to terms with a part of yourself.
Precisely. It often begins with these small, very personal steps. The article gives such relatable examples, like maybe just wearing a piece of clothing under your everyday outfit and allowing yourself to just feel that. Or acknowledging internally, yes, this is a part of who I am.
Or maybe eventually sharing this with a trusted partner.
Yes, or even just buying clothes without that familiar wave of guilt and anxiety washing over you.
And this ties in so strongly with the idea of self-compassion, which the article also talks about.
Very much so.
Instead of constantly asking yourself, what's wrong with me? The article encourages us to consider, why do I feel the need to hide this part of myself?
It's a shift, yeah.
It gently suggests that perhaps the real issue isn't the desire to cross-dress, but maybe it's the deeply ingrained belief that you shouldn't feel that way in the first place.
It encourages a shift in perspective, doesn't it? From self-blame towards understanding.
That's a really powerful shift. And the article talks about this really transformative moment or series of moments of starting to make peace with your reflection. Looking in the mirror, maybe with a bit of makeup on, or wearing an outfit that feels truly you, and actually feeling a sense of pride, or maybe even just quiet joy.
Yeah, it's about reclaiming that sense of self that shame has tried so hard to suppress.
Which brings us to a really interesting distinction the article makes between coming out and letting in.
Ah, yes, that's an important nuance.
In LGBTQ plus communities, coming out is a very well-established concept, right? But the article thoughtfully highlights how that specific model might not actually fit for everyone who cross-dresses.
That's right. You might not identify as transgender, for example, or you might not desire broad public visibility for your cross-dressing.
And the article emphasizes that that's absolutely valid. You don't have to fit into a predefined category or narrative.
What's particularly insightful here, I think, is the alternative the article proposes, this idea of letting people in.
Letting in? Tell me more.
Well, it begins with an internal act of honesty. Being truthful with yourself about your feelings, your desires, your fears related to cross-dressing.
Okay, starting with self-acceptance.
Exactly. And then when and if it feels safe and right for you, you can choose to share that truth with selected individuals.
Like maybe a close friend or a trusted partner or perhaps a therapist.
Precisely. It's about a more gradual and personalized process of disclosure, rather than a big public declaration necessarily.
It really acknowledges that vulnerability is scary, doesn't it? Especially when you feel like you're revealing something that could be met with judgment or misunderstanding.
It does, but it also offers this really hopeful perspective, the possibility of experiencing profound love and understanding when you do choose to share your authentic self with someone you trust.
That idea of letting in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels much more nuanced and maybe less pressure-filled than the traditional idea of coming out for some people in this situation.
I think so too. And the article then moves into this very open and personal space of what happens next.
Right.
Acknowledging that the future of your relationship with cross-dressing is going to be unique to you. There isn't a single path or a right answer.
Exactly. It lays out a few possibilities. For some, it might remain a private and cherished form of personal expression that's totally okay.
Totally okay. For others, it could be a stepping stone towards exploring deeper aspects of their gender identity.
And for many, it simply evolves into an accepted and integrated part of who they are, like any other interest or aspect of their personality.
Mm-hmm. And I really appreciated the direct and gentle affirmations the article offers at this point. They feel quite needed.
They really do. Things like, You are allowed to feel confused.
Yes. You're allowed to feel joy in this.
You are allowed to not have all the answers right now.
You are allowed to change your mind. It's such a powerful reminder that this is a personal exploration without a rigid set of rules or expectations.
And it gently reminds us that even if feelings of shame or the urge to avoid pop up again, because they might,
They probably will, at times.
they don't have to dictate your life anymore. Acceptance is portrayed as this ongoing practice, right? A continuous act of returning to yourself with kindness and understanding.
It is. And it concludes with this really beautiful image. Looking in the mirror, finally with a genuine smile and thinking, there you are.
Ah.
The article calls that a beautiful thing, and it really resonates, doesn't it? That moment of recognition and peace.